Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sober Bliss Meets. Today I'm really honoured and delighted because I have the wonderful Maya with me from the Sober Glow. Hi Maya, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. So Maya, you are also known as the Sober Glow, and you have a website and you're really big on Instagram. So do you want to tell people who might not have seen you already a little bit about you and your lovely Instagram account?
Sure. Yeah. So the Instagram I started about a year after I decided to quit drinking. And it was just an outlet for me to reach out to other women in the community, ideally, to find other women who were sober. And at the time I was living in New York City and all of my friends were drinkers. So after about a year of not drinking, my husband had suggested that I join Bumble BFF, which I make a lot of fun of now, but to go online and meet some sober friends, and I refused to do that. So then we started the Instagram account, and that's pretty much what I did anyway. I went online to meet friends. So
Yeah. And did
yeah.
that help you then to have that connection outside of your immediate circle, with other sober people?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I think I was on for a couple of months, and then I put out onto the Instagram account, like, is anyone in New York City or in the area interested in starting a book club? And I got a handful of women, and we started in January of 2017, I want to say, or 2018, I forget. And it was a hit. Like, I met these women and they became fast friends, and I'm still in contact with a lot of them, and they still actually run the book club in New York City now that I'm in LA. Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So you stopped drinking about 4 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. In September of 2015, I finally said enough, even though I had been wanting to be a non-drinker. I didn't want to stop drinking. I just didn't want to be a drinker anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I quit in September of 2015, even though I had tried quite a few times wholeheartedly to do 60 days and 90 days. And I never really could even do that. I would give up and just be like, everybody else is doing it. So I continued drinking until I finally didn't.
So what was different then between the time that you finally stopped and the other attempts?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the times when I was trying to stop drinking, it was because I felt like I was being a fraud. I was living a very healthy lifestyle in one aspect, but then also drinking a lot at night. I worked in the bars in New York City for quite a few years. And I became a yoga instructor, and that's really when this like double life started. I would be teaching yoga in the mornings and then, working at the bar at night for a while. And then I became a nurse once I got out of the bar business.
Yeah.
And nursing is also known as to be a big drinking crowd. All the nurses.
Really?
Yeah. And the fitness industry is as well. So there were a lot of yoga instructors doing the exact same thing I was doing, smoking and drinking and dabbling in all kinds of stuff, I should say. And then nurses as well. I mean, I knew nurses who were going to happy hour before they would start their night shift.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because of the stress of the job, do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nurses tend to be, a little bit of a control freak, type A personalities, big personalities, most nurses anyway. And, and that just tends to be like the type of person who's a big drinker as well. Not always, but the ones that I knew and were around.
Yeah. So what was your drinking like then before you quit for good? And what prompted this time to work, whereas the other times hadn't?
Yeah. So I started drinking when I was in high school. And then when I moved to New York City, I was working in the bar. I've told this story a lot. You know, I really learned how to drink when I was at that bar. We were encouraged to, and I made all my girlfriends there. And so if I wasn't in the bar drinking, I was out in New York City drinking. And I just lived a big party lifestyle. I had no responsibilities. I was on my own in New York, paying my own way. I was going to college, paying for that. So in my mind, everything was great. But once you start, you know, you get out of that scene, you start growing up and getting some more responsibilities. And once I became a nurse, it really became something that I just couldn't do. I wouldn't drink the night before my shift. I certainly was not one of the nurses drinking before my shifts. But I mean, there were days when I would get off of work at 7 a.m. and then that's our happy hour. You know, I would go out and with some of the other nurses and we would have a couple of drinks in the morning, which was just ridiculous. But that's what happens when you work the night shift.
Well, yeah, because everything's kind of upside down, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's your nighttime, I suppose.
Absolutely. And when I was working the night shift, I should just mention, like, when I would drink then, not necessarily in the mornings after my work, but just in general, my life was already turned upside down. I do not do well working the night shift. I was in a pretty big funk. And that's where it kind of escalated with my drinking. It was the first year of my marriage, and it was the first year I became a nurse and I was working nights. So it took a toll on my body physically and my mental spirit. And then it took a toll on my marriage, and it slowly chipped away. So when I would stop drinking in the past, it was always around health. It was, I truly wanted to be that sober, healthy girl. I wanted that lifestyle. I didn't want drinking to be part of my life. But eventually, what came down to be my last drinking, my last drinking experience, I should say, it was final with my husband and I. We had finally decided that we were going to call it quits, and our marriage was pretty much broken. And I had to take drastic measures. And the common denominator in our fighting, or the reason why I felt bad about myself, or just everything that wasn't going right in my world at the time, had a common denominator, and that was always alcohol. And so and I wasn't, you know, I was willing to sacrifice my health sometimes and sacrifice my days and my workouts and all that stuff. I was not ready to sacrifice my marriage. And that was just it. And we could have gone in a totally different direction. We could have walked away from each other after all of this, but we didn't. We held tight, and we slowly worked on it, and it took time, and it took a lot of rebuilding of trust. And it wasn't easy. And I know a lot of people think, oh, you make it look so easy. It wasn't easy, but I made the best of it, and so did he. And because of our relationship, because we almost broke up, or we did break, it was the best thing that's ever happened to me by far. And it's funny because sometimes he feels really bad about the situation, but I'm grateful. I don't regret a single thing. I don't regret us having to get to that point for me to wake the F up.
Yeah. I can relate to that, because my home life wasn't good either because of the drinking. My husband and I, similar story, you know, all the fights and the arguments and the unkind words were because we'd both been drinking. So we gave up together as well. It was
wow.
similar, yeah. We both said, right, okay, this isn't working. we're going to have to do something about it. And we said, right, well, let's just stop drinking and see how it goes. So we did. And we've not looked back at all. So I can totally get where you're coming from with that. Everything, do you probably feel the same, but everything's just like, oh, calmer,
Yeah.
you know? Do you
Yeah.
find that?
Yeah. Big sigh of relief. It wasn't
Yeah.
always like that. But that's wonderful that he stopped drinking with you. How long have you been sober?
Just over a year, about 13 months, roughly,
Awesome.
more or less. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Good for you and good for him.
Yeah, it's the change, as you know, is just incredible. It really is.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to describe sometimes. People ask me, what changed for you when you became sober, and what didn't change. Everything's the same, but everything is different.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's this indescribable magic that happens.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's like you said, it's just like a sigh of relief. Everything just settles down and calm, and it's how life should be, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were quite chaotic as a family when we were both drinking, and the kids didn't like it, and you know I'd go from being crazy cool happy mum 1 minute, and then the next I'm shouting at them for no reason. But now there's a, like, what's the word, everything's consistent, what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
the good bits are genuinely good, and the bad bits don't get blown out of all proportion. I don't know if you
Yeah.
find that as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, my husband and I still argue, for sure. He's still a royal pain in my ass, and I'm sure he would say the same. But there's no drama in my head anymore. I used to be a great drinker. I was fun and, the life of the party, until I wasn't, until for something switched. And whenever I would drink, and not always, but you just couldn't plan it. You never knew when it was going to come out. Angry Maya would come out. And the one person I would direct it towards was towards my husband. And that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair at all. I treated him like he was the enemy, and he wasn't. And, after a couple of years of like that slowly chipping away, like enough was enough for him.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And you.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, my drinking wasn't always about just health. That was a lot of it, but a lot of it had to do, with my marriage. And so I always want to mention both of that, or both of those reasons, and so no one thinks that it was just one or the other, but it was a cumulative of everything coming together, and it finally just exploded in the best way.
Yeah, yeah. How did you get through those early days then, when you first quit? Was it difficult? Did you have cravings? How was it?
No. Wait. Yes, it was difficult. No, I did not have cravings.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anyone either, other than my husband, because I didn't know for sure, because I had been in that position so many times where I announced to my girlfriends, or on my private IG account or Facebook, I'm not drinking anymore, no more party girl. And then, it lasted a couple of weeks, sometimes 2 months. But this time, it was different. I knew it was different. I didn't trust it completely, so that's why I didn't tell anyone. And plus, I wanted to keep it to myself. It was really important for me to get a handle on it, to get to make sure that I was really going to be able to do this. And I didn't say anything to anyone really until around 100 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it. It was special as well, and I wanted to keep it to myself before I shared. And I mean, it wasn't the hardest thing for me. I just quit. I didn't go out like in a big way. I think I know the last day that I drank, I had 2 Corona Lights. It was after one of my night shifts, in the afternoon. And that was it. I didn't have a big drunken night with a terrible hangover the next day. It was just done. I knew that I had to add things to my life. I couldn't just take it away. So when you take alcohol out, you get all this time, whether it's physical time or mental time, it's time, and you got to fill that space up. So I started working out more, doing things to take care of myself more. I think I probably spent a lot of money, just on self-care, getting massages and buying clothes and, just doing all the things that I wanted to do and going out for really nice meals. I didn't avoid going out. I didn't avoid staying with my friends or hanging out with them. I just didn't really talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I had 3 non-negotiables when I first quit. And that was, I needed to sweat every day. I needed to meditate, and I needed to write. And I did. So those 3 got me through. That took me a long way.
And do you still do those 3 things every day?
No, not every day.
Okay.
But I usually do at least one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say then your kind of number 1 tool is now for keeping you on the path, keeping you happy, keeping you focused?
Yeah. Exercise.
Yeah.
Hands down. Yeah. It has to be exercise. Another big one that I've been playing with for the last couple of months is breathwork. That's incredible. What would you say?
What's that? Obviously it's breathing, but is it a special technique or?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different types of breath work. This one in particular, I work with David Elliott, who just simply calls it breathwork time, and fell in love with it. And so when I got to California, I was at a women's circle, and it ended in breathwork. And I started going to her circles. I fell in love, and then I went straight to the source and started practicing and studying under David Elliott.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't coin this, but they do say it a lot. You'll hear it a lot when you're around other breath work healers, and it's said that one breathwork session is like 10 years of therapy, and it feels like that too. It's incredible. Yeah.
Is that powerful then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does it involve exactly?
It's simply you lay on the ground, you're on a flat surface, and there's generally music. There's someone who's guiding you, unless you're doing it at home alone. But breathwork circles, what you'll find is someone will guide you and play the music, and 2 parts, 2 inhales through the mouth and 1 exhale out through the mouth. And you do that consecutively. You start at a nice rhythm, and you slowly move faster and faster. And the experience is quite different for everybody. Sometimes it's super mellow. Sometimes you'll hear people laughing and screaming and giggling, and then other times they're screaming and crying and shouting, and you never know what you're going to get. Every experience that I've ever had is completely different from the one before. But it's a release. It's an absolute release. It's what I like to call how to get high naturally.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like a healthy high.
Absolutely. And it lasts for a while. It's not something I'm doing every day. I feel like it's a little bit too powerful for me right now to do every day.
Yeah.
It scares me still a little. I think that it will scare me always, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
because it is that incredible and that powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, it sounds wonderful.
I hope so. I hope I don't scare anybody.
So obviously things have changed quite dramatically then since, you know, you had your last couple of beers. What has been the best thing about your life since you stopped drinking? And I'm asking this because there seems to be so much about you, which is one of the reasons why I was attracted to your Instagram account and your website, because you're just so sober positive. You know, it's obviously a really positive lifestyle choice for you, and you just seem so happy in your decision. But I'm just wondering, is there one thing that, you know, is being the best, or is it a combination of many little wonderful things?
There's a culmination of many wonderful things. Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is I have a relationship with my husband that I only dreamed of having. It's incredible now. We refer to this as our second marriage quite often. Yeah. My relationship with all of the women in my life, it's better. I feel like I'm open. I'm more honest with people. I show people who I am. My walls are coming down. I was super guarded, very protective, very defensive all the time. That was just my nature. That's still in me, but I'm a lot softer. I'm a lot softer of a human now.
Yeah.
When I'm with my friends, I'm present for them, like really present. And I feel really good about that when I spend time with them. I mean, my health is better.
Yeah.
You know, for one, I feel good. I talk about this a lot when asked, because people do, they're, you know, it goes both ways. Some people are like, yeah, you know, you make sobriety look good and it seems easy, but then other people are like, you know, this, you know, no, I don't believe this. And I get that a lot. And I can't not love this choice to make someone else feel comfortable. I've said it before, I work as a nurse in the field of oncology. My days are super effing stressful.
Yeah.
It's a rewarding job. I love it. And I love my patient population, but it's hard work. It is hard work. So when I get home and I check in to Instagram, or I feel like posting something, it's coming from a place of, I want to feel uplifted. I want to read uplifting things. And this part of my life, this part of sobriety and my choice and the resources that I was so lucky and so privileged to have, and the fact that I didn't have to let this get completely out of control before I stopped, I am forever grateful. And I will never stop being grateful, and I will never stop saying that. This has been the most positive thing I have ever done in my life. And that's just the truth. And I pray the reason why I talk about it and tell my story is that someone who was in my shoes, or in my, you know, the shoes that I used to be in, hears me and understands that you can survive not drinking in this world, and you can thrive in it. So I've said it before, I will not dim my light, you know, to make someone else comfortable. Absolutely not.
No, that's wonderful. Did you come up with any kind of resistance or any negativity when you kind of came out, if you like?
Yes.
I know I did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So it was always this weird thing, because everyone who knew me was like, well, you didn't have a problem. You didn't drink that much. And then online, when you start telling your story and you start saying personal things, I can't control how anybody perceives me. They're going to perceive me any way they want.
Mm.
Nor can I make everybody happy, nor would I want to. That's, it's not my job. I just have to stay my course, do what's best for me, say what's true for me.
Yeah.
And for those of the people that are out there listening, I'm not for everyone. And some people might disagree, and, I'm not their person. They'll find somebody else who's sober, or someone else they are attracted to, and want to hear,
Mm. Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a little off track. There's someone for everybody out there, and it's not going to be me for everyone.
Yeah.
I know that. And so,
yeah. So it's kind of like, you shouldn't let what other people think of you, what other people think of your decision to change you in any way, or to
absolutely.
make you justify yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I encountered. People just maybe didn't get it, and they would ask you to justify it. People maybe like you, they didn't think that we actually drank that much, even though a lot of it was hidden behind closed doors. So it was all, kind of, well, why, and what's it all about, and maybe they were a bit wary. Maybe they saw them in me, because if they think that I didn't drink that much, therefore they don't drink that much, but yet I've stopped and I feel amazing, and maybe that's a kind of a reflection. I think it makes people uncomfortable at times, but at the same time, we have to be true to ourselves, and if we feel good being sober, then I think we shouldn't be afraid to express it for fear of upsetting people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I kind of found that a
Yes,
bit
absolutely. If I was going to listen to all the naysayers, or fall into the trap of fear of people not understanding me, or not liking me, I would get off of Instagram. I would stop talking. I would stop being so public about it. But I can't. I mean, of course, sometimes people say really shitty things to me online, and you just gotta, I don't know, you just gotta delete and forgive, as what someone just told me.
Yeah.
A lot of times I don't delete it. I let it sit there. If they want to say something like that, they can say it. And other times, if it really, sometimes it's really below the belt, I'll block them. I try not to block people. I don't know. I try not to play that game, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's good that you kind of, like you say, what is it? Forgive and delete, and then just carry on. Do what you do best.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard not to want to explain yourself to make that one person understand you. But yeah, you just can't do that. You can't. You got to move on.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody else who's not going to understand something, the next time you say something, and otherwise you'll be arguing your point nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a waste of energy and time.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Another thing that I like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Is your hair. Hair.
And I see yours as well.
Yes.
I don't think I realized that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been like this. I think I stopped dyeing it about maybe, I don't know, 3-4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you follow the Grombre account?
I've seen them, yes.
Yeah.
And it's lovely that there's so many women who are just saying, oh, sorry, why should I have to keep dyeing my hair now, and embracing the natural side of themselves. And that's what I like about the way you've kind of treated it, and you call it your Unmasking, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So how was your journey then?
Isn't it wild how sobriety and quitting hair color is really the same?
Yes.
Brings up the
Yes.
same emotions and the same vulnerabilities. I wasn't expecting that. I was just kind of tired of coloring my hair.
Yeah. Same here.
And like I was coloring it every 14 to 17, like 17 days was the max for me because my hair grows so fast and it's such a waste of time. And the money that I spent was it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So when I moved out to California, I didn't know anyone and I decided, this is perfect time. I'll do it now. I won't have a lot of people giving me a ton of feedback and I'll go from there. And then just like that. And, I came out of the gate and it was, this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. And I don't care what you think.
No.
So I don't know if I would go about doing it the same way that I did. I'm not sure how you did it. If you just just stopped coloring, did you do it that way or did you bleach it?
Yeah, I started dyeing it like a bit lighter each time, but it turned like a horrible orangey ginger.
Yep.
I'm quite dark. Anyway, I looked at my graduation photograph from 20 years ago, and my hair was just like almost black, so dark.
Yeah.
But it started to turn grey or white almost as it is now. But I don't know if it was hormones from pregnancy or what, but when I was pregnant with my first son, this kind of white stripe appeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got pregnant again with my second son, more white stripes started to appear. It was like at the front, and the back was just still really dark. It looked a bit odd. So I kind of started dyeing it a bit lighter. And then it just looked orange and horrible and not natural at all. So I thought, right, okay, I can't be doing with, the roots every 2 weeks. So I got highlights or lowlights, whatever they are, in. And then I just let them gradually disappear and trimmed it a bit. But I always had the white stripe. So it wasn't, I didn't have like dark, grey, and then dark. I had a white stripe, which if you put your hair back, then it looks all more or less same color.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped and phased it out.
Mm-hmm. I stopped coloring. The last color was in November of 2017. And then I had it bleached by a gray hair transition specialist in December.
Wow.
Which I don't think I would do that again.
No.
And I didn't know what was really happening. I thought it was just I was hoping that it was going to be like just in the pictures of all these like women with this beautiful, like silky silver hair. No, it wasn't like that. Those are filters. She bleached my hair one by one, only did like the top and the sides of my head. So the back of my head was still really dark, dyed brown.
Right.
And she put the gray gloss in it. So then it was gray with dark. And then it lasted 3 days. And I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to put anything else in my hair. So I put it in a bun and wore my hair like this for more than a year.
Okay. So. Yeah.
But now it's all mine. I have some yellow bits left over of the bleach, but almost like all the brown dye that was in the back is gone. But now it's me.
Yeah. And how does that feel then to be au natural?
It feels really good.
Yeah.
It feels really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I do have to say though, I went and had my hair done for the first time. I went to Dry Bar. I think that's the name of it. Right. And they straightened it, and they used a hot iron, and the tops of my hair, the front of my hair, the pure white turned yellow.
Oh, really? So, from the heat?
Never do that. I will never do it again. Yeah.
Okay.
I should have known better, but
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize. I straighten my hair sometimes.
really, yeah, be careful.
But
It's the heated oil that's left over on the iron and some of the hair products in your hair that can make it turn yellow. So,
okay.
so.
I won't do that. Have you had any negative comments then about your hair?
Not online. I get a lot of women like, oh, it looks great on you, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I could never do it. I get a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I had one patient in particular, and I posted about it, and she was just so not into me. She thought it was the most ridiculous thing, what I was doing. And she literally said to me, "What did you do to yourself?"
Oh.
Yeah, and she was a hairdresser. So she said that she was going to come back with a box of dye so I could take care of it.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was funny. I handled it very well. I mean, there's nothing really I could say to her.
No.
But yeah, I will absolutely not color my hair ever again, no matter what anybody says. But I think it turned out pretty good, so I'm quite happy with it.
It looks great. It really does.
Yeah, as does yours. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not dyeing my hair ever again. It's just
Never.
Too much faff and time and effort, and haven't got time. Life's too short to spend it.
That's right.
I didn't do it. My husband had to do it.
Your husband colored your hair?
I made him like do the roots and things, and
oh my
he's
God,
like the least I don't know what's the word, like the least kind of person who faffs about with products and things, and the gloves were too small and he couldn't do it. So it was probably because I felt a bit sorry for him as well, so I thought, oh, I'm not going to bother anymore. So
that's hysterical.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my husband doing my hair for me. Never in a million years. It would never happen.
I think I once got my son to do the back because my husband said I'm not doing it anymore. So I tried to do the front. I couldn't do the back, so my son did it, and I think he was 6 at the time. And he's like, no, I can't do it either. So that's probably when I stopped.
That's funny. It's a whole family affair.
Yeah.
Does your husband like this?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Good.
Thankfully. He's got no choice, really.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny because we live in a Spanish village, and all the old Spanish ladies dye their hair black. I don't know if it's because Spanish women are generally very dark, and maybe they miss, having their dark hair from when they were younger, but all the Spanish ladies have got jet black hair. And I stand out anyway because I'm English, but I stand out even more because I've got white hair. So it's a bit of a contradiction, But
isn't it fun though?
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's so much fun. I get such a kick out of people giving me like weird looks. And I have a lot of women approach me if I'm like in the mall or on the street somewhere. A lot of women will come up to me and ask me where I got my hair done.
Yes, I've had that. Is that natural? Yes. A lady was telling me the other day that her daughter, obviously Spanish, dark, spent about €300 to get her hair to look like mine.
Yeah.
And it's only going to last a few weeks because obviously the roots will come in. So it's fashionable, I think, to have hair like ours.
It was a good time to do it.
Yeah. Okay, time's getting on. I don't want to keep you too long, but I would like to ask you, what's next then for Maya and the Sober Glow?
So I just got back from my retreat in Baja with the 12 ladies that I took down. We did stand-up paddleboard camping trip on the islands off of Laredo, Mexico. So it's right in the Sea of Cortez. It's the second trip that I've done. I'm going to do it again in October, and I'm not too sure about next year yet, what we're going to do. But I'm really, really loving that. I feel so vulnerable and so open, and it's wild getting women together in the wild who have no idea who I am really, and definitely do not know who any of the other women are. And I'm asking them to come in and like just share themselves. And it's a great experience. Such a great experience. The women I meet are unbelievable. And it's just so good because, I mean, I can be online till I'm blue in the face. I'm never really going to know somebody. When we get out there and we're out there together for a week with no walls and, no interruptions, it's just, you remove all of the masks, as I say. Yeah. It's incredible getting to know these women like this. And that said, I mean, I've had the Instagram account for over 3 years, or almost 3 years, I should say. And on a daily basis, I'm answering questions and giving advice, or people just are looking for encouragement. And I answer as many as I can, but it's become too much for me to handle. So my plan is, I'm starting a coaching program, and it's in the works right now. Some other people are helping me with it, get it up and running. I'm not doing it on my own. I refuse to do stuff on my own anymore. So it's going to take a couple more weeks. Yeah. And so this way I can, at least when I talk to someone, I can follow their progress and get to know someone more. Because for me, it's always been about connection. And when I talk to someone or give words of encouragement or something online, like, half the time I don't ever hear from them again. I have no idea where they're coming from, and I don't know where they went. So this is just a better way for me to continue on the path of connection and make it more fun for me too,
Yeah. So. I know what you mean. I like this bit of the coaching that I do, the one-to-ones, where you get to actually physically chat to people face to face. That's one of my favorite bits, because you can really connect with them, and it's just accountability for them. And to be honest, it really helps me as well. Do you find that helping other people helps you a lot also?
Oh, absolutely. The Instagram account, Sober Glow, 100% keeps me accountable. 100%. I can never imagine a day. Now, I've never said I would never drink again, only because I don't put that kind of pressure on myself. But I cannot imagine ever having to come online and tell people, hey, look, I'm drinking again, or I've decided to drink again. No. So yeah, it keeps me accountable. Yeah. I would never want to do that. I would never want to, it's just tricky. I'm so open about how much I love not drinking. So I hope someone would keep me accountable. If I ever decided, oh, hey, maybe I'll drink again. No. No. So yeah, it helps me every day. It helps me.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. That's so nice. What piece of advice would you give to somebody who's maybe worried about their drinking and don't know what to do? What would you say to that person who might be watching?
Investigate, question it, reach out to somebody else who's sober. If they don't know anybody, I'm sure they can find someone online. Like I said, people reach out to me on a daily basis in that situation looking for advice. So absolutely, don't sweep it under the rug. No. We can do that for years. That's the problem with people thinking, I can't stop drinking if it's not that bad. That's the gray area. That's where I was. and that's where I'm focusing my work. If you're in that area, ask for help. If you know that you've already crossed into physical addiction, absolutely, you need to get help. Talking to someone on Instagram might help, but no, like there's, there are resources, many resources for people who need to have more help than just, words of encouragement.
Yeah.
But as far as the gray area goes, don't ignore the voice. And if you're hearing the voice, when you're questioning your own drinking, you gotta stay true to that and follow through. Just try.
Yeah. That's good advice. I would agree with that completely. Don't wait until something bad happens. If it's making you unhappy, then it's time to do something about it. I think that's what I would say.
Absolutely. It's time.
Yeah. Oh. Well, thank you so much, Maya. Really enjoyed our little chat. I could talk to you all day and all night, but I'm sure you've got better things to do.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I love the fact that you have gray hair and that you let me talk about the gray hair as well, because, this isn't just about sobriety,
No.
This is unmasking things to become your true self,
Yeah. What other things do you think that you could do to help with the unmasking, or do you think that you've reached the point? For example, I don't wear makeup. I haven't worn makeup for, 15 years or something. Maybe I've worn it twice. Again, it's because I can't be bothered. Maybe I'm a bit of a lazy person. I don't know.
For me, myself personally, I'm sure there's tons of things that I could do to unmask. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for, I wear makeup. I'll probably continue to wear makeup.
Yeah. So you work in a professional field. So I don't. I just sit at home all day.
Yeah, I guess I do look like I'm a homeless person when I'm up in the morning walking my dogs at 6 a.m. I definitely don't have makeup on then.
No.
I don't know. You got to do what feels right. There's, just because, someone stopped drinking or someone stopped coloring their hair doesn't mean that that's what's right for you. I know a girl who, she talks to me a lot about how she gave up Botox and facial fillers, and that's an unmasking for her.
Yeah.
I know women who are having their breasts removed, their fake ones, not the real ones. That's a unmasking. Anything that just, you're getting back to the heart of who you are, and you're not putting on this facade of who you think people want to see,
Yeah.
So that can be anything.
Being true to yourself.
Yeah. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lovely way to end our little chat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
My pleasure. You're welcome.